This is sponsored by Red Belly Culture, the go-to store for all your art supply needs. So you think you have what it takes to be a graffiti artist? Consider these things. Are you quick on your feet? Can you think in high pressure situations? Are you willing to even spend time in jail? Not everyone is destined to be a graffiti writer. It takes a lot of hard work, practice, and skill to be capable and respected in the scene. It's not about just creating beautiful works of art with spray paint. A tagger must also be quick, effective enough to successfully evade obstacles that are thrown their way. One small misstep and they risk getting thrown into jail for vandalism. There are many factors that taggers go up against every single time they step out the door in the dead of the night. Their backpack reeking of aerosol cans. Taggers expect that anything and everything will go wrong during their trip. There are so many dangers when it comes to doing graffiti, but here's just a bunch of things that comes down to it. The police, or pigs as people like to call them, are the taggers' public enemy. The pigs stand as the #1 obstacles to not just taggers, but also street artists. Their duty is to preserve the city from vandals, and they patrol the streets to enforce their laws. Because of this, their ideal clash with street artists who wish to use public space for expression of their art. Pigs are notorious for locking taggers in jail and feeding them hefty fines and community service. Seeing as all types of public properties are a required necessity for taggers, cops make it a point to patrol these areas with the sole intent of cracking down on these vandals. In some of the more populated cities as New York, London and Germany, where vandalism continues to be overwhelming with concern, government officials specifically instruct the cops to crack down on graffiti writers. Often patrol units are dispatched late at night to contain and restrict taggers from venturing out. To the taggers, these cops stand for something greater. They represent the roadblocks standing between their ability to openly express themselves and are the main reason why graffiti in street has become to be known as medium that attacks the authority. Moving on to the environment. The environment is another factor that poses a serious threat to taggers. As more art is made and space is filled up, taggers are forced to find new places to create their art. Why don't they just tag over old graffiti art? Code of honor is shared amongst all taggers in the graffiti scene. Going over someone's work is a sign of straight disrespect or beef, and even if they will come after you if they think it's that serious. Each piece of art that's out there in the graffiti world must be preserved and respected. If there's no room, simply look for another place. However, once all the building walls are inevitably filled up, taggers to seek out new spots, some of them being more difficult to access, so they began climbing fire escapes to reach high-rise billboards. Some jumped off one building to another to access exclusive spot where graffiti hasn't found its way there yet. It's a very dangerous price to pay, but one that taggers are willing to risk if it meant a new spot for their work is going to be displayed, or one that would instantaneously catch the public's attention. These spots are called heaven spots. Unfortunately, the environment has caused many casualties. Many taggers fall to their death climbing the high structures, and some die due to accidents caused by rainfall and other forces of nature. It's important as a tagger to evaluate the pros and cons before setting out and putting up a new piece in these situations. Should I go, or is it truly in my best interest to stay and let the weather rest before heading out? Gangs. In some poverty-stricken neighborhoods, gangs are very common and widespread. Gangs are very territorial and mark their territory with their own signature of graffiti. When venturing into these neighborhoods, taggers must be especially wary and always be on the lookout for these gang tags. When they say a wall mark, generally the best thing to do is make a complete 180 and look for another wall. While it's tempting to ride on a fresh wall with a lot of space, getting severely beaten to a pulp by a group of thugs is most certainly not the thing you want to do. Pedestrians. Pedestrians are another factor that taggers must look out for during their endeavors. If a pedestrian spots a tagger, in most cases they won't say anything to confront the tagger, rather they'll tip off the police by alerting them on their phones. That's why in this case, taggers are advised to run when they know they've been spotted by anyone. Also, a wide group of taggers believe that most policemen go undercover as pedestrians in order to catch them in the act, which taggers are forced to be even more secretive and take extra precautions before setting out because of these things. Moving on to subway trains. Subway trains pose an extreme risk to taggers as they can cause instant death. Absolute beast of machinery, subway trains travel in lightning speeds throughout the city. In order to access secluded spots where taggers can safely perform their craft, taggers usually jump fences in order to get to these places. However, the inherent danger with this, especially in a city like New York, is that these areas usually have trains running through through them. Some routes are not protected by wall fencing, and at night in complete darkness, taggers must know exactly where they are. There are far too many horror stories of the New York Police Department discovering bodies of taggers sliced and diced on railroad tracks the morning after. This goes back to point number 2. Always be aware of your surroundings. Let's go ahead and talk about time. Time is money. An artist must be skilled when creating their piece. They must be lightning quick in their application and bolt once their work is completed. Time is very valuable. Taggers don't have the luxury to take their time with their art due to graffiti being considered illegal. For graffiti writers and taggers, it's basically get in, spray, and get the hell out. And pray you don't run into any other factors mentioned in this video. To conclude this video, being a tagger is no easy job. The fact is, creating great works of graffiti is only half the battle. Battling the elements mentioned in this video is the other half. Don't be so quick to judge. Graffiti writers have it the hardest. Fueled by their passion, a new sense of respect can be attributed to these people who risk their lives providing us with great works of street art to marvel and look at. So you ask yourself, do you have what it takes to be a graffiti writer? Maybe, maybe not. But in the meantime, we can all respect their hard work and we can respect what they do. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day and have a good one.